Hey, it's me. Here we are in the photography studio. You don't see this scene very much. This is where we take pictures for the website. And this is Willie's American Guitars. Hello, I've got something for you guys that are into vintage guitars. This is a remarkable story. Honest. So, here we are. You can recognize right away, for those of you that are into guitars, that this is a dot neck. They made dot necks. The 335 came out in 1958. Those early ones were, kind of shallow neck sets and skinny bridges and cool. Then 59, that's like, those are the big ones. 60, the necks were a little skinnier in 1960. 61, that skinniness came out. 62 was the last year for dot necks. They made 600 dot necks in 1962. 600 cherry ES-335 TDCs, thin, double pickup, cherry, TDC. But in the first half of the year, there were dot necks. The second half of the year, there were block inlays. This guitar has this bigger neck. It's not the wide, fat neck. It has love it. It has PAF pickups. That's about the last year you'll see. We've seen PAF pickups in 65s. We, if you guys remember, had a Les Paul Custom from 1968 that had an original gold-covered PAF from 1968. Yeah, it happens. Not very common. But here's what's interesting. Here's why this is cool. This was refinished by the factory. Now, we have known of this guitar. The owner has come to us and he had brought us the original bill of sale. He bought it in June of 1962 in a little store in Iowa, and it was originally a stop tail. Now in 1962, they started using up these stop tails with this anchor screw there. Those would normally go on the Les Paul Juniors, and you'd wrap strings around it. But they had a bunch of these left over, and they figured, well, let's just put these on the 62 335s. This was born with a stop tail. The customer sent it back to the factory in 66 or 67. Now we talked directly to that customer. We bought this from the family of that customer, but he had loved this guitar and he wanted to turn his stop tail into a Bigsby, which is something they offer to do. What's really interesting is that there is on the back of the neck, there is an operation ID. And for those of you unfamiliar with that, a lot of police departments would come and say, make sure to scratch your serial, your ID, your driver's license number, on the back of your television, expensive stuff like guitars. And we see that fairly commonly, but it's finished over. So Gibson redid this, and you see this shading back here? Gibson, they've done that on that. I see it more on Sunburst guitars than on Cherry. It's unusual. We would believe that would cover a broken neck that was repaired. And that's possible. That makes sense. Why would they refinish it? But we cannot, for the life of us, even under black light, see any sort of break that would happen down here. There's no break in here. It is all refinished over the scratched out serial ID, but it's magnificent in its color. And I'm going to turn it towards the light here, and you can see the deeply yellowed binding, and it's nickel bridge, which is true. That tail piece was a nickel tails piece, but here is a chrome cover. So in 1967, 66, 67, that's what they did. But these are real PAF pickups. And this finish is just gorgeous. It's this deep blood red. And it's a great guitar because you get it so much cheaper than a regular dot neck. This is probably a huge opportunity. We try not to oversell stuff, but I gotta say, of all the guitars, it has this really quick response acoustic. A lot of guys back in the day didn't like the Les Paul because they were so heavy, and they also get a little mushy for stuff. And these 335s tended to add a little more brightness. Now here we are. I'm going to turn on these PAFs. We're going through this 62 Gibson Pathfinder or Discoverer. Great guitar. The frets, it's hard to say if they're original. Were they from 62 or 67? The Bigsby was added. Apparently, that's what he told us. It has the original parts. It has the original hand tags. It has this instruction from Gibson. I'll read it to you. You probably can't see it. The Tune-O-Matic bridge makes it possible to tune your guitar perfect accuracy on each individual strings at the bridge. Permits precise adjustment for intonation regardless of string gauge. Yeah. See, they still had to explain what this thing was in 1962. We take that for granted because by now they've made 1 million of these. But the hang tag too reminds you to use your Gibson Sonomatic strings, you know, like you're prone to do. And the bill of sale for this too, and it was bought in May 7th of 1962. It's really cool. So we are offering this. It has the original case. It has the original tuners, but like a lot of these tuners, the buttons have shrunk. It happens, but these are the original tuners. What's on here are reproduction tuners. And then you get this nice medium shaped neck that isn't that really thin blade neck. You get this gorgeous guitar with really nice wood. And here, let's look at the back of the headstock together. You can see there just isn't any sign of a break. It's gonna be hard to photograph this, I'll admit, but trust me, you can look and look and look, and there just isn't a sign of a break. So then why did they shadow back there? We don't know. We do see it on Sunburst guitars. They shadow a bit back here. They shadow a bit back on the heel. And this is all a factory respray. How do you know, Willie? Well, because the owner told me so. And the front is gorgeous with great flame. The guitar has this wide border truss or wide border pickguard and a wide border truss rod cover. All of these guitars from this era has that, and that's when you go from across the room, you look at it as a wide border truss rod cover and you're like, ooh, is that an old one or a reissue? There you go. Really cool. 1962 dot neck, refinished by Gibson at the factory. Some real cool history on it and some real good evidence of its originality. And this is a stop tail. You want to take that off, you can just make it a stop tail. It's an original stop tail from back in the day, converted to a Bigsby at the factory, What else can we say? Look at this.